Hey everyone, welcome to Smart Course, the go-to place for authoritative information and strategies for special needs and learning disorders, especially ADHD. Today we're going to discuss distance learning and some tips to help make the adjustment more manageable. All of the information and recommendations in this video come from Attitude Magazine, the University of Illinois, the American Journal of Distance Education, IPSOS, and Andrea Elrum, who's one of the speakers from our ADHD and Middle School Summit. First, we're going to briefly recap executive functions, then describe some of the many challenges with distance learning, and go over some tips for learning online, as well as some of the benefits of online learning. We'll start off quickly by going over the brain and executive functions. For a quick recap, what is an executive function? Attitude Magazine defines an executive function as the cognitive process that organizes thoughts and activities, prioritizes tasks, manages time effectively, and makes decisions. Executive function skills are the skills that help us establish structures and strategies for managing projects and determine the actions required to move each project forward. The part of the brain that handles executive functions is the prefrontal cortex, which, you guessed it, is located in the front of the brain. This is also the last part of the brain to develop and is typically fully formed between the ages of 25 and 30 years old. To quickly talk more about executive functions, here is Andrea Elrum. She recently spoke at our ADHD and Middle School Summit this past August, and lots of people really enjoyed what she shared. Andrea Elrum is the Director of Creative Solutions, and she's an executive function coach with over 15 years of experience working with children and parents. Her presentation was on managing homework, Parents Edition, the tips, tools, and strategies for helping kids. So without further ado, here's a snippet from Andrea Elrum's presentation.
We also know the executive functions as the brain's search engine. It's like the Google of our minds. They're located primarily in the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is the last part of the brain to develop. It is not fully developed until the ages of 25 to 30 years old. So it's important that we recognize that our brains not being mature until 25 to 30 years old, they may have a 30 to 50% delay in certain executive functions. They could be 3 to 5 years behind in any one of these executive function areas. Perhaps in the planning, perhaps it's in the working memory, but many times there's at least one executive function, if not more, deficits that ADDers are dealing with. I just want to say that I will refer to somebody with ADHD or with ADD as an ADDer. The ADHD is the umbrella on which people with the diagnosis of ADD and ADHD falls under. So know that I am using that term interchangeably. What are some ways that we can develop independent skills? Well, we can help them with their self-monitoring, their self-talk, noticing what they're doing and talking themselves through. Self-regulation, noticing when their body is getting out of whack and when they're ready to melt down, and seeing the future. We have to learn to plan and go ahead toward the future, as Russell Barkley, another expert in the field, shared with us. I often tell my clients that we need to have an imaginary pause button in our lives. We need to learn to stop, to pause, to think, and then move forward with what we need to do once we're able to compose ourselves. But we need to learn how.
Now we'll move on to distance learning. Here are just some of the many reasons for why the adjustment to remote learning is difficult for students, parents, and teachers. First and foremost, not every person has equal, or in some cases any, access to internet, Wi-Fi, hotspots, multiple devices, etc. The people without that access, be it a student, parent, teacher, whomever, are at a serious disadvantage. To be clear, they've always been at a disadvantage, and the current situation with the pandemic only widens that gap in access to put them even further at a disadvantage. In a similar vein, not every parent is able to stay home while the child is in school. If the parent is even working, it's incredibly challenging to find childcare and still work, whether they work at home or outside of the home. Many parents and teachers say school, both in person or online, started too soon because everyone now has to proceed without ample protocol established for how to navigate the new school year. For the schools currently allowing in-person learning, many teachers have students both in a physical classroom as well as online, which can't be easy to juggle. Students and teachers also miss each other in person. Of course, how could they not? Students and teachers enjoy each other's company. Children also develop their social skills together, they build strong relationships, and continue cultivating other important skills. Another big challenge is the attention and time management of students. Now being home, your child is probably surrounded by some of his or her favorite distractions. It can also be difficult to just sit and learn, or even teach for an extended period of time. That sustained attention that happens in person probably takes a hit when it's moved online, especially since the material is not as hands-on, interactive, or even fun. That said, here are some tips to help with the transition. We'll start with tips for parents. To start the school year off on the right foot, collaborate with your child to make a daily schedule. Of course, this will be flexible and change as the school year progresses, but having a daily schedule you both make together ensures you're both clear for the day's expectations and it provides some structure to the day. Reorder the day to match your child's energy and focus. Just like you may be more productive at certain times of the day, so is your child. For activities or subjects that require more focus, try doing those during a time when you know your child is most productive or likely to focus on that subject or activity. For instance, if math is your kid's most difficult subject, do it in the morning or whenever they're most energized and focused. Even if the class schedule says to do it at another time, you know your child best, so you can make those adjustments to make learning easier. In the same vein, do the hard stuff before lunch. It's out of the way, you both still have lunch to look forward to, and your child's most difficult subject won't overlap with any post-lunch slump or the general readiness for the end of the school day. Incorporate movement into the day or routine. This can mean movement between subjects, like a dance break, or taking a quick walk outside if you can. This can also mean keeping their hands or feet busy when studying to help build focus. For instance, you can encourage your child to try using Play-Doh or even tossing a small beanbag back and forth while answering flashcard questions. This can help them get some energy out and also not sit still and be confined to schoolwork for the entire day. Next up is the Pomodoro technique. This is a time management system based on working with time instead of struggling against it. Instead of blocking off a long period of time to power through, this technique says people work best in 25-minute increments with 5-minute breaks. Even in larger chunks, like every hour and a half followed by a 30-minute break, helps the mind and body reset and refocus for more work. When doing homework, for example, try working in 25-minute sessions, each broken up by a 5-minute activity break away from the screen that your child actually enjoys doing. Last but not least is to set up different stations around your home. These can be different stations for every subject, like a math station or a science station, or it can even be as simple as a designated school station or a school and homework station. Also, feel free to decorate. You can both decorate each area to make them inviting and productive spaces. Now, here are some tips for teachers. First up is to record classroom lessons if possible. This can be extremely helpful for students to revisit, especially students with learning disabilities. Plus, when students know they can revisit the lesson, they probably won't be too distracted with taking notes and can actually focus more on the lesson, participate in discussions, and actually engage with the material. Try incorporating games or reward-driven activities into the learning curriculum. One example is humor. You and your students can decide on how maybe a spirit week with a theme for each day, like Wig Wednesdays or something. Or even ongoing games can be something to look forward to, like maybe spot the difference in your background. Or maybe computer games. Talk with your students or fellow teachers to see what you all could enjoy doing together. When possible, try allotting some time to just chat about non-school related things, especially since many classrooms are either entirely remote or fragmented between some in-person and some online. This helps to still build a relationship with each student. If you do this in the morning, it can help prepare you all for the day. It can also be a nice debrief between sessions, or even a nice way to spend lunch, or just wrap up the day. Last up is to incorporate audiobooks and YouTube videos. This might seem a little contradictory because that can sound like supplementing screens with more screens, but that's not quite the case. Audiobooks are a great alternative to reading. Not to discredit reading in any way, but for any students who have difficulty reading, audiobooks can offer another way to learn and stay engaged with the information. Besides, it can be dull and difficult if everything is just relegated to reading. As for videos, who didn't love Bill Nye the Science Guy as a kid? Everyone loved Bill Nye the Science Guy. Plus, since many, if not all, of your students probably watch YouTube videos in their free time, YouTube videos are another way to meet them where they are and engage them with a platform they already know and really enjoy, probably. As much as your students love you, learning from another person or in a new style can also be very refreshing. And it can also give you a break. Finally, let's go over some of the benefits of distance learning. For one thing, as long as you have internet access, education is available and accessible anywhere. This also means getting to and from school isn't an obstacle, which is great. Another benefit is how you can learn at your own pace, especially if your sessions are recorded. It's also easy to incorporate external resources. These can be other guests, online videos, online books or resources. There's so much available to incorporate into the curriculum. Online learning also encourages teachers to be creative. Not saying teaching is easy, but it's far easier to stand in front of a class reading notes than it is to regularly cultivate novelty in the way someone teaches. Yes, this is a difficult and challenging situation, but that just means teachers, students, and parents all have to think outside of the box just a little bit to help keep things interesting. Last up is the individualized learning. I've already mentioned how you can learn at your own pace, but this can also look like one-on-one time with teachers, and don't underestimate the fun you can have at home. Your children are home in familiar environments that are also, hopefully, less distracting and overwhelming than being in school with a room full of other people. So, to sum things up, yes, I know things are crazy and really, really tough. And yes, I know we all miss doing things in person. But that doesn't mean there aren't things you and your child can do together to make this whole adjustment a little more manageable. In our upcoming video, we will be learning more about how kids with ADHD can still build their social skills during COVID-19. For an expert-curated list of resources from our past summit and videos, please visit the link in the description. If you like this video, please don't forget to like it and let us know what you liked or what you'd like to see more of in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. The more people who like, subscribe, and click the bell and comment, the more people will see this kind of information on YouTube, and we know some people could really use this help. Also, don't forget to share this with anyone you know who could benefit from this video. If you like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment, and sign up for our upcoming summit at this link, then we will pin your comment to the top and we will send you our expert-curated list of ADHD resources. We share tons of expert-vetted resources on parenting and education for differently abled kids, so feel free to sign up for our newsletter using the link in the description below. If you haven't watched our previous series about ADHD and other disorders, click the annotation to watch those videos. And if you want to support SmartCourse and help make sure we can continue bringing you content, check out our Kickstarter and membership pages. We also have an online course with even more specific information, step-by-step guides, and access to professionals who can help you through this process. As always, I appreciate you taking the time, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.